Well, howdy and what's up, Internet again. This is Jeremy with C6 Defense. Just a bit of a after-action report from the Icepocalypse of 2026. I don't say that to make fun of it because it was really bad in some areas. In fact, I talked to someone yesterday who was without power for a number of days. They were able to make it. Everything's fine, but I know it's been pretty bad for some. Down here in South Texas, it was icy for a day or two. Some stuff shut down. We lost power for about 3 hours, maybe. It wasn't very bad at all. That doesn't mean that people didn't freak out. Like I said, I've said this before, but anytime it gets any kind of icy or anytime there's potential ice or anything, it gets below 30 degrees or so, people kind of tend to lose their minds around here. And nobody's really prepared for icy weather, and so people stay inside, people shut stuff down. So my wife and I ended up going into town. We lost power, we went into town, the gym was open, so we went to the gym. That was fun. There wasn't very many people there. We went to Sam's and Walmart because they were open. It was the day after the biggest ice storm part of it, and it was sunny outside. It felt nice, but it was still, sub 30 degrees. But there was absolutely no one in the store, which is a great time to go shopping, just FYI. But I wanted to make this to kind of do a little after action and say, while there wasn't anything major here that happened, I know there was some stuff that went down other places and is still being repaired in some places of the country. And so I wanted us to maybe take a pause and think, okay, now that we've made it through this part, we've witnessed the panic buying again. At least in our area, there were lots of things missing from the shelves. A couple of days before the storm hit, we went to the store. I have lots of like 5-gallon water jugs that we normally drink out of because the water out here is not all that great. So I get filtered water in town and bring it out here and have some jugs and stuff. I mean, we have a well, but anyway, it's complicated. Let's just say that. So I had plenty of water. We had, we normally go to the store once a week or so. And so we did a little grocery pickup. I had been to the store, like I said, to get some water earlier that week. Didn't really need a whole lot. We don't really have a whole lot of space either, but it was psychotic. There were no places to park. The shelves were being emptied and things like that. So, other than that, we have a generator for things. We have last year at the Prime Day sale, we got one of those. It's a Jackery. It says it's a solar battery backup thing or whatever. That's just marketed as. But it didn't come with solar panels or anything like that. It was a big battery backup. So we made sure that was plugged in and charged. I have a solar panel for that, so if it needs to be charged, we can plug it in, leave it outside for a couple hours and charge some. All that's been tested, another thing. And like I said, I have a generator that'll run off of gas or propane, and I have both of those here as well. So we were ready for anything. We have little heater stuff. We have one of those indoor propane heaters, a little Mr. Buddy, I think, heater. Lots of blankets. We did not expect it to get extremely cold because it's in Texas, and we just don't do that here. But in the 20s, teens, stuff like that, we can make do, even if there's no power or whatever. So the biggest problem that we had, and again, I'm not trying to make light of the situation because there's been some people that have been very negatively affected. But the biggest problem that we experienced here was we got up and there's no power, there's no coffee. So I made coffee. I actually... So the power died. I have coffee set to start at like 5 something in the morning because we have to get up and do a bunch of stuff. So the coffee had been made, but it wasn't hot. And my wife likes cold coffee. I do not. My coffee must be hot. So I plugged in our little battery backup to the microwave just to see if it would work. And lo and behold, we got hot coffee. I got hot coffee. So that was fun. But I say all that to say, what are some things that you and I could both do maybe even little changes that might make something like this, whether it's worse or even a false alarm in the future, would it be something that we would be better off? Some change that we could make. For instance, something that some people don't take into account is communication. How, if the grid goes down, power goes down, it's too cold, it's too hot. It's in Texas. If it gets too hot, people's power gets shut off. If it's too cold, people's power gets shut off. So in some cases, and that has affected communications with cell phones or with whatever. So are there some things that you might have, or maybe some cheap things that you could start looking into now that would better prepare you to be able to communicate with others? Myself, I'm looking into starting a Meshtastic club here in Victoria. There's no one here that does that. For those of you who don't know, there's tons of videos out there, but basically it's off-grid, text-based communications, GPS data. It can be tied in with some other stuff that looks pretty cool. It's fairly cheap to get into, but money can be kind of tight around tax time, so we're gonna see what happens. But I'm hoping to get a few nodes set up here in the coming months. I'm sure I'll post something about that. Cell phones, though. If you have no power, you can't charge your phone. Do you have batteries for your phone, or some of those little battery backups that you can plug your phone and keep it charged if the cell grid is up? If the cell grid's down, then you're pretty well screwed at that point if you don't have any type of other backups. We have a couple of handheld radios that have been distributed among some friends. They don't reach very far, but if we're within a few miles of each other and there's not too much in the way, we should be able to communicate, so that is good. But other than that, not much would have changed. We were, like I said, prepared man, I can't speak today. English is hard. We were prepared with fuel. We were prepared with water. We were prepared with food, at least enough to last for myself and my wife for a few days, weeks maybe. We have some other food storage that lasts a bit longer than that. So my biggest takeaway from this was to test what I have. Make sure that it's working beforehand, make sure that it's charged, make sure that it's fueled up, whatever the case may be. And not only that, make sure you know how to connect it, how to set it up, how to make it work. I know a lot of people that have just bought generators or bought this or bought that device or whatever, and they just have it in a box or have it in their garage or whatever, and they would expect that it just is going to work. There's not going to be any prep time or setup time needed. And so in the case of an emergency, or in the case of something much worse happening, it's probably a good idea to at least test that. And that's a small change that you could make today for free that would benefit you in the future. Not just having something, but knowing how to set it up, how it works, and all of that stuff. So be encouraged. Something small that you can do today, something small you could buy today, some small change that you can make that might make a big difference in the future. And hopefully next time we'll be better prepared, because we're more prepared every day. See y'all next time.